Should we beatbox?
Yeah, I think so.
Hello, it's Peter Mead, and welcome to the SEO Surgery APAC for the SEO community in Australia, Asia, and Pacific region. It's great to be back again. And so while people are starting to join the webinar, I will just go through and introduce each of our guests. We have three terrific guests today. I'll start with Kate Toon, who is in Edinburgh. She's an award-winning SEO copywriter and SEO consultant, well known for being the co-host on the Hot Copy podcast. Kate also runs her own copywriters conference called CopyCon. Good morning, Kate. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well. Yes, good to see you.
A standard question that I ask everybody, what's hot in SEO for you right now?
What's hot? Well, I think we're all pretty hot. I'll start by saying that. But I think, obviously my areas of expertise is I focus a lot on SEO copywriting. So I'm really excited about the impact that voice search and the featured snippets and all featured answers are having on the way, the impact they're having on the way people are writing copy for their pages. And I'm off to YostCon later this year, a little plug, to speak about SEO copywriting. So that's what I think is pretty exciting at the moment.
Wow, sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for that. We'll looking forward to your audit that you've done. So in the meantime, though, we'll just go through and introduce Harry Sanders. So Harry Sanders is actually the Australian SEMrush Young Search Professional of the Year. So I was very chuffed to be able to present the award to Harry earlier on this year. And but he's also the founder and director of Studio Hawk, and it's based in Melbourne. Welcome, Harry. And what do you have? What's hot in SEO?
Thanks, Peter. Yeah, look, I think one thing that I think is quite hot right now that not many people are talking about is international SEO and how that's being rolled out. So there's a few really cool ways that that can be done now that Google's kind of allowed us SEOs to do, and I don't see a lot of international websites doing it. And the people we've done it with have seen fantastic growth from it. So I think that's pretty hot.
I like it. Yeah. Big deal. So getting that right, especially, hopefully there's some little tips you can give us during the webinar, Harry.
Definitely.
So we'll move on to Bartosz, and Bartosz is from Poland. He's the CEO and head of SEO at Elevate. He's a technical SEO expert, and you may find him traveling around the world, sharing his passion with like-minded SEOs, speaking at many conferences. Good morning and welcome, Bartosz. What's hot in SEO for you?
Hello. I see that we've got like three different opinions now. For us actually here at Elevate, maybe because we work with such a clients, but we think that we're not only going deeper and deeper into technical SEO, but I strongly believe that we're slowly shifting out of like SEO zones into getting even more technical to work with new technologies. So I'm guessing we need to get even deeper in 2019 into technical aspects.
Wow, great insights. So yeah, hopefully we can pick up a little bit more from you during the webinar. So let's just get started on the first audit. So very excited to hear what Kate has to say. Kate has been auditing a website called nucl.com. Kate, what do you have to say? What have you seen, and how can they improve their SEO?
Okay, well, I'll just share my screen. Let's start with that, and then we'll go from there. So here we go. Hopefully you can all see my slides. Can you see them?
Yes.
Okay, so Pete didn't mention in the intro, but my core business is the Recipe for SEO Success, where I teach people how to DIY SEO. So the site I was lucky enough to take a look at was nucl.com, and I'm going to just go through what I found today. So what I like to do is I like to start from a human approach and imagine that I've just heard of the brand Nucal and I've gone to Google and I've typed Nucal into the index and what comes up. Because obviously this is the experience that most of your customers will have if you're doing a good job of branding yourself and getting your brand out there. So the first thing we can see obviously is your result, and you were #1 when I typed you in Australia, so well done for that. But I think that you could work a little bit harder on this search engine result. The title tag isn't particularly compelling. Obviously, you've got your focus keyword in there, which is practice management software, and I'm going to come back to talk about that. But it's not very sexy. It doesn't particularly make me want to click, and nor does the meta description. It's very bland. It's not. There's no particular tone of voice. There's no benefits in there that will really make me think, wow, this is a result I want to click through on. Also, with your site links, obviously we don't have control over these 6 or so links that appear underneath our listing, but you could make them work a little bit harder. So you can see there that the first one we have is an incompatibility warning. We also have some information about being on the iPad and iPhone, and I'm not necessarily sure these are the best pages that you want to be coming up. Now, unfortunately, we can no longer demote links from here, but we could perhaps have a look at a bit of internal linking to try and drive up the pages that we really want to be appearing here, because these will get you lots of clicks. Now, for your brand, the knowledge panel, the knowledge graph panel didn't spawn. That sometimes takes a while, and again, not something you can hugely control, but hopefully that will come over time. So this is the first thing we see. This is the first piece of content anyone will ever read about your brand. So I think you should work a little bit harder on making it sell your brand a bit more. A little bit of a unique selling proposition would go down well here. Also, because you've got this unusual brand name, which is great, it's super memorable, but obviously it brings up Nucal Kurma, lots of recipes. So in the video panel, there's a bit of a missed opportunity there for you to have some Nucal videos, you know, maybe a little explainer video or some videos from your CEO, I think his name is Darren, to, sell the benefits so that you can own that little video panel as well, because you own the rest of the first page. So that would be great if you could. Moving along and thinking more about your focus keyword, because it seems you've heavily geared your homepage content to try and rank for the term practice management software. Hugely competitive term. Heaps of searches, but very, very competitive. Lots of ads, some big players in that space. I think you're possibly going to have to maybe go slightly more long tail and have some kind of benefit statement in there, like talk about affordable practice management software, or focus on one of the industries that you're aiming your practice management software at, just to get a kind of a cat and hell's chance of getting onto that first page, because otherwise I think you're going to struggle. And I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through. So the first thing I always look at when it comes to technical SEO is speed, because really, if that's not working, then a lot of other things won't either. And you do quite well. So I think your page size on the homepage could be brought down a little bit. You could smush a few of those images and just get the K size down a little. Try and get that load time under 3 seconds if you can. You could possibly consider using a content delivery network like Cloudflare, and the other little errors that come up here. This is using Pingdom site speed. If you're not sure what they mean, you can just click on those little arrows and it will give you a definition of what they mean. Most of them are relatively easy to fix. Some of them are kind of WordPress things that you kind of can't get rid of, but I'll talk a little bit more about some WordPress plugins you could use to improve your speed a little bit later on. I won't go into detail on each of these and explain them because I've only got 10 minutes and I'm already talking incredibly fast. So I should say as well that this entire presentation is on SlideShare. Just look for Kate Toon. So if you want to have a look at this afterwards, you can have a look at the slides. Now moving into what this is, this is Google's site speed tool, which I really like because I love the way that it tells us exactly which images need to be brought down in size. So it doesn't sound much, 0.9 seconds, but that little bit could give you the edge. The main thing that you've found with the site is that you don't seem to be using any kind of caching plugin, and that's causing lots of issues with your CSS and JavaScript files, and also that things aren't zipped up. So I like to use WP Fastest Cache. There's another one called W3 Cache. It's going to depend what other plugins you're using. I would try one of those out, and that could knock a nice little chunk off your speed, and you could see a bit of a ranking improvement from that. The next thing I think we look at is first impressions on the site, because everyone's very focused on ranking, but once we get people to the site, we need to make them stay there. And we have about 10 seconds for people to get what you do, who you do it for, and why you do it better than anyone else. And I'm not sure your top of your page does that particularly well. We jump straight into a form. We have one line that explains that your practice management software is smart. I don't think smart is a particularly compelling adjective to use there. And then we have this very large image of, I think maybe they're fingers or pills. I'm not quite sure, but it's not selling to me. It's not making me think this is hugely what I want. Also remember that most people read from right to left. So I'm not necessarily sure it's a good idea to have the form on the right. If it were me, I'd put it on the left. I also just think it's a bit too soon to be having a form. I don't really even know what your product does, why it's good, what the features are, who it's for. It's a bit like shoving someone's business card into someone's hands before you've even introduced yourself. So I would hold back a little bit on that form. In terms of your navigation, I think, lots of people don't agree with having a home button, but look, for good usability, there's no harm in having a home. You don't need the us on contact us, because who else am I going to contact? And I think the free trial should probably be the final thing in the navigation rather than the one from the end, because that's the main thing you want people to do. And you really generally put the main call to action on the far left if you can, because that really draws the eye. I think what's missing from the navigation could be some proof, testimonials, FAQs. Don't be afraid of having a few more elements in your nav. I think you can have up to about 8 before the nav becomes a bit cluttered. But don't make me fight to find that information. At the moment, if I want to answer some FAQs, I have to work out that I go into features and scroll down, and somewhere in there I get the FAQs. And don't underestimate the power of having proof on your homepage. The other little thing there, it's just a basic thing. Your logo in the top corner is called logo. Try when you can to name images intelligently. Maybe a better name would be Nucal logo, so that maybe you rank for that in image search, or practice management software. You actually use a different logo on other pages in your site, the one that I've shown there in the box. Possibly that might be stronger on the homepage. When we look at the homepage, and I have taken a bit of a copy focus in this presentation, is really try and use this very simple formula that copywriters use, which is problem, agitate, solution. So think about the problem someone has when they hit your homepage. Expand on that problem, explain the impact it's going to have if they don't solve it, and then offer yourself up as a solution. You don't really do that on your homepage at the moment. There's just lots of different boxes saying different things that don't really lead me through the story. I also think you could hugely benefit from having an explainer video. Don't have it autoplay, but that would really excel your content without you having to have so much copy. People don't read on the internet, so have as little copy as you can. The other thing I found is that the copy has no real tone of voice. It could be anybody. I could swap the logo to somebody else and I wouldn't know that it wasn't you. You need to really focus on your specificity. Trusted by thousands, it's not that believable. Trusted by 1,062 businesses across the world, that's much more believable, and a lot more proof. I'd like to see some results. I'd like to see more testimonials, video testimonials, so that I can see real people like me who've benefited from your product. We had a quick look at crawlability, and the most basic way you can quickly see what's being indexed by Google is just to type site : and your URL into Google. And this is where we can very quickly see you have a bit of a problem, because it brings back 1,630 results. And I know that you don't have that many pages and posts on your site. What's actually happening is all your tag archives are being listed, your author archives, support questions, all kinds of stuff are coming up. Some of them are clicking through to 404 errors. And you really need to clean that up and really only have the content that you want to be indexed being indexed. One quick, easy way that you can do that, I see that you're using Yoast, is to just go into your Yoast plugin and switch off a few of those sitemaps. I don't think you really need the author sitemap. I don't think you really need the category sitemap either. Your robots.txt looks a bit sketchy, which is odd because that should have been created by Yoast, so have a little check in there. It doesn't look quite right. And yeah, I would recommend grabbing something like Screaming Frog, running your site through it, having a look at all the content in there, and maybe setting up a few redirects, deleting some pages, and cleaning up your content that's being crawled at the moment. if we move into using SEMrush's audit tool, I mean, this tells us a lot of really quickly shows the problems with your site. And in here, you can run this yourself. You can get a free trial with SEMrush. You've got some temporary redirects set up. It's much better to have 301 redirects rather than 302. Big issue is you have 70 or so duplicate meta descriptions. Now, we don't think that Google uses meta descriptions as part of the algorithm, but they're hugely powerful for click-through. They're little ads that encourage people to go to your site, and you're missing meta descriptions. Most of them are the same. That's going to cause you some issues. You're missing H1 headers. Not a huge deal. John Mueller from Google recently said that it's not a huge deal, but hey, why not add them if you can? You've got some title tags that are overly long, trying to stick to about 60, 65 characters. Just all really easy, simple things to fix, but they're all, they all add up to a better result. Here are a few more issues that we found. You've obviously moved from HTTP to HTTPS, but there are some absolute links within your site that are still linking to HTTP content. So go and find those out and fix them up. You've got a broken external link, just a small thing. A lot of your pages have low HTML to text ratio, which isn't a huge thing, but it just means that there's not much copy on those pages, not much for humans or Google to chew through. And also, again, these CSS and JavaScript files, which I think would be fixed if you got that caching plugin that I mentioned earlier. In terms of keyword, you're going after some highly competitive phrases, some big players. I would aim for some longer tail keywords, maybe, as I mentioned, industry related, so practice management software for legal companies, financial practice management software, veterinary practice management software, and maybe adding in some adjectives around that. So is yours affordable? Is it reliable? What kind of words would people type in to find you that you could differentiate and own that space? And also price, affordable. Someone who types in words like price of or cheap or affordable, they're really in the buying zone. So you might get a higher conversion rate of keywords like that. So I think the other thing is at the moment, all of the keywords that you do rank for, it's your homepage that's ranking for a lot of them. And you could have some individual pages in your site that talk to those different industries, and they could then rank for those, and it'd be really great content that was really relevant, and I think that would be a good option. Most of your searches at the moment, or the keywords that you're ranking in the top 3 spots for, are branded, which means you're doing a good job of getting your brand name out there, and it is hard to be found for what you do. It's much easier to be found for who you are, so that's a good thing, but a bit more who you are would be useful. You're also getting a lot of navigational searches, which is people looking for things like new call login, new call booking form. So again, maybe you could capitalize on that a little bit as well. In terms of backlinks, you've got some fairly good scores. There's a few dodgy ones, a few toxic ones. They're not particularly toxic. Just check through them and have a look. Most are very low authority, the sites, and you're obviously getting a lot of links because of your Book Now feature. So everybody who signs up to you generates a little button that says Book Now, and that links back to you. So that's where the majority of your links are at the moment. You'd be really well, benefit you to try and find some relevant sites and maybe try and get your content onto those sites, guest posting, maybe try and get yourself on some podcasts talking about your business journey, just to get some backlinks from people other than your own customers, some high authority sites that are going to drive your backlink score up a little. I'm not sure how I'm doing for time, but I'm nearly there. Peter, have I got much time left?
Yeah, we're just almost out of time. So
cool. I've got one more slide. So, yeah, great. So looking at your structured data, you have organizational at the moment and website. Perhaps add some local. You have a local address. Why not add that in? I'd suggest getting a few extra plugins. You only seem to have Yoast at the moment. Maybe WP Fastest Case, maybe definitely a security plugin and a backup plugin, just in case you get hacked. Add features into the main nav, fix your alt tags. It's only a small thing, but there's 46 missing. Maybe look at the readability of your content. At the moment, it's age 12. I know that sounds kind of good, but maybe a little bit lower is better. Look at your image sizes. They're pretty good, but consider putting some of the larger ones through Tiny PNG and installing WP Smush. And finally, I would create a separate FAQ page, a separate testimonial page. I would work on your calls to action. All your calls to action are negative. Still not convinced, can't see what you're looking for, turn those into positives. Let us show you how we can boost your business, make them into positive statements rather than these kind of negative questions. Little things like want a different currency, contact us. Don't do that. Don't make people struggle. Just put a link to a currency converter. Add a blog so you've got some extra content. And final little tip is add your social media links as icons, because currently they're textual and they're a little bit hard to spot. And that's me. I'm done. Thank you very much. I don't know how to stop sharing, Peter. Oh, no, I do. Here we go. I'll stop sharing. There we go. Breathe.
Well done. Thank you so much for all those insights. I just sort of tuned in quite a bit more. My ears pricked up a lot more when you talked about all those URLs, and particularly when it comes back to things like your keywords and your keyword research, and then the keyword mapping across those URLs. So absolutely stacks of work can be done, just fundamental type of work. So
yeah. And lots of it's not, and lots of it's not particularly difficult stuff. It's kind of more admin tidy up, but I think the site would benefit from just a bit more content. It's very minimalist, and I think driving everyone to the homepage and then making them make a choice of where they go. If I had a page that was particularly for my industry, like legal or finance, that answered all my questions and had some testimonials, that's going to work for Google's point of view because it's tailored, relevant content, and it's going to be better for conversions as well. So good luck. Good luck, Nicole.
Any comments, Harry?
Look, I thought it was pretty fantastic. It was very, like Kate said, very copy and kind of UX centric, but I think that's great because that's kind of Kate's field of expertise and all that. I love just the small little wording things.
Yeah, and there isn't really a huge amount of technical issues with the site, so I listed out what there is, but if there aren't tech problems, then you've got to focus on the other stuff. So
totally.
Yeah, Bartosz, anything to add?
So from my side, I looked into Singapore market a little bit. Obviously, I'm not from out there, but looking at the slow 3G or medium 3G and how their website loads, and I guess if they look into analytics, they would have to see how many people actually use mobiles. It's 65 seconds, which is something that I had issues accepting. And one more thing. I think that Kate Toon touched on that with something being wrong with the robots. I'm not sure if their WP WordPress config is okay, because if they go to mobile friendly test and try to run the mobile friendly against their website, it kind of crashes. So if you look at that, it doesn't load a lot of the images. And it seems like it's getting a desktop version as well. So there's something up here to fix. So just that.
Okay, yeah, maybe they can play around with the Google Fetch and Render tool and figure out if there's any scripts that are blocking it from rendering or something.
I didn't see any, but yeah, probably we would have to look deeper into that. But that may be with mobile first, especially, and yeah.
Okay, wow, this is good. We've got lots of insights. Let's move on to the second audit. Harry's going to audit budgetdirect.com.sg. And so Harry was talking to me earlier on about this. So Harry, how did it go? What did you find?
Yeah, no, it actually went really well, Peter. I've got a few slides, but initially I was a little bit worried because I pulled up SEMrush, and we had a nice a site score of about 92%. So at first glance, you think, well, that's pretty damn good from a technical perspective. There's not a whole lot you can do, but that's where I think it comes to the next level of realizing that also, aside from what SEMrush raises, there's also different silo and different kind of elements you can look for there. So yeah, that's kind of what I cracked into. I talked about the internationalization and the kind of backlink outreach that these guys might need to focus a little bit more on. So do you mind if I share my screen, Peter?
Yes, please.
Great. Cool. So can you see that all right?
Yep, we've got the slides.
It's just loading there. Perfect. All right. Hopefully that's all good. So just to jump right into it, I want to flag some of the kind of toxic backlinks. So just for anyone kind of tuned in, not sure what a toxic backlink might be, a toxic backlink is an unnatural link that could be causing kind of harm to the website. Now, Google says that they automatically clean those up as per the new automatic Penguin update, but definitely some papers and research that people have done suggests that there's still quite a little bit of work that needs to be done there. So really easy, quick win to disavow those in Search Console. But what is more kind of gets me thinking a little bit more is that they've only got 135 referring domains. Now, for a company like Budget Direct, where they're going after really competitive kind of keywords like vehicle insurance in Singapore, which is notoriously, well, it's known for having expensive vehicles, and the premiums that I imagine they'd be getting would be high. So I'd say it's a high CPC keyword. So I want to talk a bit about how they could potentially acquire some more of those backlinks, because they definitely need some more, and the ones they do have are just not quality. So I always say there's 3 kind of key items when it comes to backlinking. I call it D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. That's how I remember it. Hopefully you do too. So the 3 things that each backlink should have is it needs to be do follow, right? So if you're looking to do outreach, you want do follow backlinks. Yes, you want a natural do follow, no follow portfolio, but that comes kind of over time. You generally don't need to do a lot of outreach to get those no follow links. They kind of come to you. The second thing is niche relevancy. Now, this is a massive one that I think a lot of SEOs forget, and it is so important. You can have a website with a huge DA, huge kind of, do follow link, and still get nothing. And people wonder why, and they start thinking things like, are backlinks dead? Do backlinks still work? And it's because they're not niche relevant. Now, it's so important that we do have niche relevancy. And finally, domain authority. So I kind of look at Moz's metrics still. I use a combination of Moz and Ahrefs to get an idea of where that authority is and also the traffic of that site. But really, if you are doing link building, it needs to comprise of those 3 things. So the do follow, obviously having the not having a rel no follow on the text, and some websites can be a bit sneaky with this, but thanks to Chrome, you can always right click and inspect to see what's going on. You've got your niche relevancy, which is, again, here's an example, like a good link for a skincare blog linking to a skincare product, right? If you're talking about taking care of your skin and that links out to a skincare product, in the example of Budget Direct, it might be they're working with a travel blog, right? They might be working with a travel blog about Singaporean travel that links out to, hey, maybe you should get your insurance done through Budget Direct. Just an example off the top of my head. A bad example of Budget Direct doing outreach would be acquiring a link from let's say a watch website. A watch website linking out to Budget Direct, even if it is Fossil or a massive kind of watch brand and it's a link smack bang on the homepage, it's not going to really pass any credibility across because it's not niche relevant. Finally, domain authority. As we say at Studio Hawk, artisanal, handcrafted backlinks. It's all about the quality, not the quantity of these. You want to make sure the DA is strong. You want to make sure there's natural traffic coming through, and you can definitely look at Moz and SEMrush and all sorts of kind of tools there to kind of get an idea of where those domains are at. Now, that's the backlinking side. Now, I encourage most people to check that out and make sure that their backlink profile is in line with that. I think a lot of people get tripped out. A lot of the time, I get questions personally. People say, well, and in this case, I mean, they're ranking number 8 for car insurance Singapore. Now, that would be a great keyword for them, but they just need to squeeze a little bit out. And I'm sure they might be picking their brain over, why are we not higher? Our technical score is so high in tools like SEMrush. We have 92%. We've got a fair amount of backlinks, but the backlinks that they do have are not quality backlinks. And so I think a lot of people need to look at their backlink profile when they're considering where they're ranking in the search results. Kind of jumping into some of the more technical issues here, kind of going off Kate Toon points, there's definitely some incorrect titles here. Budget Direct Insurance Singapore, car, motorcycle, travel. Are they selling cars, motorcycle, or travel? I'm not sure. I think a much better title would be Budget Direct - Singapore, car and travel insurance, right? Still in the limit of characters, but much more readable and much more easy just at a glance to see what they do. It's just as simple as reordering that word that will encourage a high click-through. And it kind of targets some different kind of keywords. We know that changing the title oftentimes can affect how people click through and interact with a page, then having a flow-on effect as to where they're ranking and positioning in the SERPs. Quick win there. Going up to page speed, it scored quite terribly on mobile, to be honest, which I think, look, you should be checking your speed on mobile all the time now. It's just most people are going to come through on a mobile at some point during the purchasing phase, especially when you're looking at travel or automotive insurance. So I think that speeding that up is going to be crucial, and especially now that we know that Google's got this new mobile index and there's so much value now on page speed. It's one of those easy things to fix up. Like there's no gzip here, there's no caching. I mean, that the passing of the JavaScript maybe not a massive thing and might be a limitation to their CMS, but there are definitely some easy, quick fix-ups that can happen here. Sometimes as simple as even getting a better server. So that's some recommendations on the page speed front. So this is kind of what Google's pulled. Definitely some love that could happen here. So a lot of delay between that first meaningful paint, definitely on the slower side, and this is coming from Google directly. Now, the final thing I really want to touch upon, because it is kind of so close to my heart right now, is the international kind of SEO component. Now, there is a real opportunity here for Budget Direct to centralize their international operations under either a subdirectory style domain, or they could build it up under under the current kind of CTLD structure they have, but they definitely need to invest some more resources. What's happening is, well, there's two main ways they could have handled this international SEO, right? They could have had a subdirectory, so budgetdirect.com/SG or Singapore or whatever they may be, and then have the Singapore website stored under that, or example.com/ENAU, whatever it may be. But they've elected to go with the CTLD structure, which is to say that they've gone budgetdirect.com.sg, which is a different country level domain, which has its own benefits. But in this case, they're going to need to generate their own backlink strategy for those separate domains, which sounds already to be difficult given that they don't have many backlinks coming through. Another thing that they're really looking at, they're not doing, is they do have a href lang tag on the website, which is great and indicates which version of the page should be shown. However, they are not utilizing the link rel alternative function at all. Now, yes, we are getting quite technical here, but when you are rolling out to an international domain, these are the kind of things that you should definitely be checking off and will have an impact. Setting an X default version, so your example.com, and then having your Singaporean version as a link rel alternative or whatever it may be, just really highlights to Google that you're trying to show off different versions of potentially the same content. Because when we did the audit, we definitely saw the same content in being flagged across different sites, which Google would definitely be picking up as duplicate content. So just something to be mindful of. And we do actually have a white paper on that that's completely free that I'm not sure the best way of distributing, but it kind of goes through the different ways and different structures and acts almost like a checklist of sorts if you are rolling out internationally.
Send me
even
the link to that, Harry. We'll share it.
Sure. Definitely. So look, mostly covering off the kind of backlink outreach and the internationalization. That's the two core things for Budget Direct here. Most of the other work, I looked at the site. Look, the site, more from a CRO perspective, there could be some work, but focusing on the SEO kind of elements, I definitely think that right now, if they focus on the internationalization and they focus on getting some proper backlinks, they'll see some really quick, easy wins.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that, Harry. I do agree with the international, especially the href lang. I've seen so much happening recently with Google paying particular attention to the implementation of href lang. And of course, for larger sites, doing href lang using your sitemap and XML sitemaps seems to be the way to go. We're getting much more traction that way. But in either case, making sure that the href lang is sorted out when there's other international versions goes a long, long way. Definitely. Do you have any other comments, Bartosz, you want to add on to this one?
Yeah, so for me, one thing I would just add to these to what you said, guys. Sorry, got kind of hang out for a second. So one thing is, I looked into some of the technical aspects. One thing that kind of sticks out is that you guys forgot to switch on gzip for most of the website. I crawled like 1,500 URLs, and for 1,000 you didn't have gzip enabled. So that's like literally 10 minutes to speed up your website.
Nice one. Yeah, it's a nice quick tip. Any comments, Kate?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think as Harry covered off lots of the techie stuff, I think there's a lot of work that could be done on conversion optimization in terms of getting people through that first page. There's a couple of pop-ups that pop very quickly on the homepage, which, you know, are a bit distracting and annoying on mobile devices. So maybe you want to consider moving those to the second page or having a bit of a 45-second delay because they kind of overlay the page. And I just think the whole implementation of that form being the first thing, the car insurance quote, and I am looking for gap planning, gap marital state. It's just, gosh, it's unappealing, and I'd be really interested to know how many people get through that as a first instance. Again, it's like, it is the main thing people want to do on the site, but gotta ease people into these things a little bit, people, you know, gotta warm people up before you shove the form in their face. So yeah, I think that would be my tip.
Yeah, great tips. Thank you so much. So let's move straight on to the next audit. So Bartosz has been looking at tyrula.com.au. What did you find, Bartosz? What can we do here with this site?
Okay, thank you. So first of all, thank you for choosing this website for me, Peter, because it's actually a perfect example. Secondly, I didn't even touch the copy. I actually never do, but I didn't touch either copy or links because I feel like there is so much technical work to do that they basically, it's very clear why they lost traffic. So I'm guessing. So first of all, Tyrula, they sell tires, and they are an international brand from, I'm guessing, at least 5-6 countries from what I saw, and they've lost traffic in the beginning of October this year. And they took quite a hit depending on how we look at that. SEMrush shows that as you can see here. And if we look into, like, first thing straight away, I would look at in a large e-commerce store, and they have like few 100,000 products. I'm not sure how many exactly. Is we crawled as a part of the website, and just to see that the massive part of the website is duplicated internally. But then if we look at some of the URLs that are duplicated, like this one, there are soft 404s, because this page would return code 200, so it's supposedly be okay, but at the same time there is no results. But if we go a little bit deeper, this page, and they get slowly de-indexed because of that from Google. But if you search for this piece of content from the Soft 404 page, you will see that they have more than 6,000 pages with a Soft 404 like message indexed still. So that's the first thing. That's a massive. That's a quick fix, fairly quick fix. That's a massive improvement. Basically, don't index Soft 404s. Make them no index follow. But then if we look even deeper into that, some of the pages like this one with the federal tires, and they would have more than 1,000 internal duplicates. And please remember that it's just a partial crawl of the website. So again, if we look into those pages, they're all indexable. That's basically shows that the URL is fully indexable. And the index that tyrula.com.au has in Google is around 40,000 results. And I'm guessing, first of all, this is not a very good way to check that. So your Search Console or your Google Search Console would be a little bit more precise. But I'm guessing that it's gonna drop, or it's dropping right now because Google is de-indexing all the soft 404s. Also, as you can see here, they have more than 200,000 tires online. So, so we can assume that only part of the stock is indexed because there is no, because of the lack of like indexing strategy. That's probably a massive issue. So you're not showing a lot of the products to your clients. So looking to drop quickly, they dropped at the very beginning of October, and I looked into two random pages. Actually, not two random pages, two pages with the biggest drop like potential. So basically, with the biggest potential traffic going from the positions. So the first one was ranking for Kumo tires, and the second one was ranking position actually 11, but for the keyword tire. I was trying, okay, can Google index and see those pages properly, which is usually the first step. That's how the page tyrola.com.au /tires, actually tire, sorry, there shouldn't be an S here. So this looks on a mobile, and that's how it looks like in mobile friendly test. So we have a massive issue here straight away. Massive issue showing that there is something wrong with how they serve content to Google, especially to mobile Googlebot. But then if we go deeper and we look into page loading issues, page is partially loaded because there are some issues with, I'm guessing, CDN either not serving content to Googlebot or blocking Googlebot, which is a very often issue for large structures. At the same time, there are some minor JavaScript issues that may also somehow relate to that. But from what I see here, there is nothing massive apart from the user scale problem. But then if we go to the second URL that dropped, so the tire Kumho, or sorry, I never heard this brand before, so I'm not sure how to pronounce it. We can see that the second page looks way worse because it's not mobile friendly according to Google, so that may be just by itself a reason for a drop. And if you look at the preview of the website, it's not in a very good shape as well. But then, so that concludes just a brief analysis. Okay, that may be the reason for the drop for those two pages. Google can't see them properly with mobile first. It's an issue. Then we have the index bloat. But then moving forward to actually, this is where the kind of fun, probably not for them, but fun begins for me as a technical SEO nerd. Looking into international part of the code, okay, it was clear for me that they have hreflangs implemented, and they have 5 other countries. Actually, 4 other countries because that's Australia here. Sorry, and moving forward, I was like, okay, let's have a look at one of those URLs. So I'm guessing that's Malaysia. Yes, so my MY having a canonical going to a 404 page. And that was like the first step because, okay, the canonical from one of the country version, like a local version for outside of Australia, is going to a 404. So okay, that was the first problem for me, and I started looking into some of the other issues. So that's Thailand. For all I know, that's not the proper language for Thailand. But if we look into the code, it's not marked as in English. Again, so the whole markups for languages, for hreflangs, so are somehow messed up. And then again, if we look into more pages, the canonicals go to 404s again. So the tyrola.com actually pushes a canonical to tyrola.com.au. So that gets really messy and chaotic and complex. But at the same time, it should be a fairly easy fix if you know how to do international SEO properly. One more thing is that with pagination, there is a lot of mess with that as well. Some of the pages have proper pagination for rel next and rel preview. Some of them are canonicalized to the first page. So there is no strategy here. Again, it's a little bit messy, and that's also like something that we can fix straight away. Yes, so you can see that there are two different types of pagination. I'm guessing depending on the slug here, and there are two ways of how they handle pagination within the domain. And oh, actually, I touched on the links, but just here, so you can see that there is massive drop in the links around that time, and they've lost like 12,000 links, but they're mostly from their own domains. So I'm guessing the software like SEMrush and Ahrefs and whatever, all of the software that works with links stopped seeing internal links from canonicals or from just basically linking internally. So there was some kind of structure change around that time that may have affected the drop as well. But if we move forward to so leaving all that, we can see there's like a massive structural chaos here from technical point of view, and those are just the most serious issues here. So just fixing the indexing issues or canonical issues with hreflang issues and duplicate content issues. So any indexing strategy for the website is a massive win that can easily recover the drop. But moving forward to web performance, we can see again that out of like roughly 40K URLs, only 8 were marked as fast. So that gets us to, okay, not only it's difficult to crawl this website, you get soft 404s, Googlebot is getting content that's like difficult to index because some of the images are blocked. So even after all of this step, and Google gets to that, the user signals from like Chrome User Experience Report, or which are ranking factors starting July this year, are very, very bad. Also, like if you should familiarize yourself with critical rendering path. From what I see, you can win quite a lot on user experience and perceived web performance by just not waiting to load everything at once, but basically going one by one with just Google critical rendering path, and you will see what I mean. With GTmetrix, I don't love GTmetrix by how they measure things, but also fully loaded 13 seconds on the desktop, which is terrible. And I would understand the fully loaded here if you had some kind of strategy for progressive load. But then on a fast 3G, you can see, I'm not going to make you watch the whole thing, but on a fast 3G on Motorola G4 from Australia, and the page would load fully within 27 seconds. So it's still loading. So the good thing is that the top of the page is loaded first. So that's one thing. But then, and that's okay. That's not even as bad. But then, sorry, I can move forward. On a slow 3G, and I won't make you watch the video, but on a slow 3G from Sydney on Motorola G4, which is a median user in Australia, and that's an optimistic scenario for the first visit, it's 85 seconds. So so if someone is gonna, and I've been to Australia, I know how internet works there. It's very good in the cities, but obviously once you leave the city center, it goes to a slow 3G straight away. Kate, correct me if I'm wrong. You probably know better, but then if you have a slow 3G connection on a median phone, which is Motorola G4, your website is basically impossible to open. So to summarize that, and because I guess we're running out of time, there are 4 things that there are like very easy fixes. So there is complete lack of indexing strategy and structure chaos that you could see before, which is a good thing. Is a clear step and like you know what to do. So like it's an easy fix. the bad thing. You need to start doing that. Very, very bad web performance, especially in mobile, which is popular and growing in Australia and all of the other countries you're in. There are issues with loading content to Google, so there you would have to check that on a technical side. If your CDN maybe is blocking Google, which happens sometimes, maybe it's not its performance is not enough. And one of the second biggest sin after the indexing strategy would be hreflangs, which are all over the place, and I don't think they're helping right now. And international SEO hurting UX with like Thailand being set to English language, and obviously rankings in the end. And that's it. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks so much, Bartosz. As usual, we see lots of messes with URLs and big opportunity there. I think even by cleaning up the URL structure and looking at how they're getting indexed, they'll have a big win right there. So what about some other experts on the panel today? Kate, did you have anything you wanted to add on to this site?
Yeah, I mean, I think once they're cleaned up all those indexing issues, a good audit of all the title tags and meta descriptions is in order. Lots of duplicates, lots of nonsense, lots of missing ones, lots of repeated ones. The backlinks, to me, there looks like some serious dodgy backlinking going on there. I think it was like over 188,000 backlinks. My little tool just too many to be true, and I'm wondering what's going on there. Keyword focus seems a bit all over the shop as well, and little stupid things like alt tags and having a copyright statement in the footer that says 2016. It's like little detail. We've got these big problems, but then a lot of the little things as well that just make the site look a bit unprofessional, you know, like it's little mistakes.
People notice that, don't they?
They really do.
I call them trust factors. Would you call them that?
I really, yeah, exactly. If the copyright statement says 2016, how well are you really taking care of your site? It sounds small, but it can break that trust, and trust is everything when it comes to conversion. So yeah, a lot to work on, unfortunately.
Thanks for adding that on. Harry, do you have any more comments?
He's muted.
Oh, it happened.
Sorry, I'm here. Love the fact you touched upon the incorrect language tag, so obviously right up my alley. But yeah, like Kate said, a lot of duplicate content issues are like tire sizes. Yes, I get, I get everything up from 8-inch to 420-inch. I would love to see some 420-inch tires, but conversation for another day. But I'd love to see some more unique wording around what that is and what use case someone might have for a 420-inch tire if someone were to search for it. Same thing as Kate with the backlink profile. Looks nasty. Needs to sort that out. Lots of toxics, potentially toxics, and a lot of work to be done there. But overall, I think yes, there's a lot of mess to clean up. But man, I think they're going to absolutely reap the benefits once they've cleaned all that up. There's just that many technical issues, and the fact that they are ranking at all is nothing short of a miracle. So once they fix that up, it's going to be good times.
Okay.
We have clients in the tire niche. We know it's difficult with indexing strategy. One of the most confusing places to be, because you have like everything is duplicated out of the box because like the tire, it comes like so many sizes. But once you're focused for a few months, you can make it happen. And actually, yeah, that's there are competitors, like the competitors of the website I looked at today won the best SEO campaign last year with us. So we've been there. We went through this mess, and we know it's overwhelming at first for first year or a few months. But yeah, you can clean up a tire website, and yeah, it's possible.
It's just lots of work, right? Yeah. So, Kate,
and what
else?
I was just going to say, a while back I did the SEO for Kmart Tire and Auto. So believe me, I've written, and I can't even drive, so I've written a lot of content about tires. And there are ways that you can, make that content unique and good quality. The other thing I noticed with this site, and this is just a warning for anyone listening, is the blog posts that you're posting on your site. A lot of them look like you're really posting blogs for the sake of posting blogs. They're thin, they're not particularly interesting, and some of them are actually going to be competing with your product pages because you've targeted the same keywords. You're actually cannibalizing your efforts there. Blog less, blog better, longer, more detailed, really helpful blogs that answer customer questions, not 300-word link-filled filler blogs just for the sake of getting some content out there. It's not going to help. In fact, it's probably doing you more harm than good.
Yeah, so, well, I just thought what I could do now is ask a couple of questions just very quickly. We've got about 5 minutes left. And there was a couple of questions that are just common themes that we keep getting asked. And yeah, one of them is along the lines of, you know, should we be shooting for featured snippets? Should any of these sites today, can they benefit by trying to win some of the featured snippet slots in Google?
Well, I mean, I was going to get that's my favorite topic. So yeah, I mean, really trying to focus on the who, what, when, why content, you know, can really nab you that position 0 spot, which obviously is invaluable. But you really have to know your audience well and the problem that you're trying to solve, and you have to craft that content really well. So, you know, the name of the content is actually the question. You have a short snippet at the top that's very easy for Google to digest and use on the site. But then you go on to write a really good quality article with reference points and downloadables and checklists that becomes so good that other people link to it, or that people include in link roundups. And it's, you know, it really has to be high quality. I don't think there's any shortcuts when it comes to featured snippets. You know, have a look at what's already spawning a featured snippet, what content they've produced, and see if you can skyscraper a little bit, make it even better. But I think there's definitely so much opportunity there. And I think people are worried that they're not going to get the click through because the question's already been answered. But most of the time it hasn't been fully answered. People want to know more and they will click through, and you positioned yourself as the authority. So yeah, it's
a bit like the read more, right? You know,
yes, exactly.
They read the intro and then they want to know more details. So look, we are running out of time, but I will go around to each expert SEO on the panel and just ask each guest for their 1 minute key takeaway. Just their SEO advice. What would be one thing that you could say to each person listening? You know, just to you know, what's the top takeaway? Maybe we'll start with you, Bartosz.
Thank you. I was totally not prepared for that. So AF.
Top of your head.
So just me being me here, like 99% of the websites we look on, like, use mobile friendly test and see how Google sees your website. That's a first step. And I'm trying to get people to be so bored with that. 3 of the websites today, 3 didn't pass this test. 3 basically didn't render well. And with mobile first, that's so simple. You just copy paste your URL and that's it. But then in 2018 or 19 or 2020, if you didn't fix your technical SEO issues, if you don't have a clear indexing strategy for a website like a tire store, which is like you should do that years ago. That's basically your key focus today. Don't spend money on AdWords, TV, whatever. Just do the basics first, and then consider like featured snippets or anything else.
Yeah, so the fundamentals, right?
Like if Google can see your website, you
yeah. Oh, nice one. So, Harry, what's your 1 minute takeaway for everyone?
My 1 minute takeaway for everyone, 2 of those sites both had international issues, and we were just looking at just a handful of sites there. It is so easy. We audit at our company. We audit probably hundreds of websites a month, and I could tell you about 50% of those don't have their language set correctly. If you're an Australian company, please use ENAU. If you're global, use EN. But have a look at that, because we had an issue recently with a pet store that only sold to Australia that was getting 100,000 unique US visitors a month, right? So that's a lot of money left on the table. They couldn't sell to any of those people, and it was causing a massive issue. They had their language tag set to EN US. Couldn't sell to any of them. No money coming through. It is so simple. It's like going to someone's robot and seeing disallow all. It's just one tiny little error, but can honestly make a big difference when it comes to targeting the right people. And last thing I'll say is when you are going international, or even if you've got an e-commerce shop with different CCTLD structures, make sure you've got your Lang alternative set up and that's all correct, because again, a really costly mistake that can be avoided in minutes.
Well, thanks so much. Kate, what's your fast food takeaway? 1 minute.
Okay, so I think I totally agree with the guys. It's all about the tech first. Make sure your site's crawlable and speedy and targeted to the right country. But then after that, I think for me, it's all about first impressions count. You know, you've got 10 seconds on the homepage to get people through your site, make it clear what you do, you know, clear calls to actions, no spelling mistakes, nice, clean content. Because we would do all this hard work to rank, and then you get them to the site and they don't convert, well, then it was all a waste of time. So it's not just about ranking people, it's about conversion.
Conversions is where it's at, right? Yeah.
Yes.
We want to make money at the end of the day. So,
Yes, please.
Hey, thanks so much. We're out of time. I just want to say thanks again, Kate, Harry, and Bartosz. It's been fantastic. I hope everyone's learned a lot and got a lot of tips. And we'll see you back here again, same time next month. Bye for now.
Sounds good. Thank you.